you're never going to believe this. I said, what? And she goes, I had sex with a ghost.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm listening. And she told me about the whole thing. And I was like, what? Was it good?
You know, I started with Bigfoot. You went all the way to like Skinwalkers and Mothman.
Well, yeah. Like, I wasn't going to mention Alice Cooper, but I'm like, how could I not? And I didn't know if that's sort of, what an amazing legacy to, be born into.
In the ballroom, I was like, oh my God, thank you for picking me.
Oh, wow.
There's so much politics, all the stuff going on in the world. And when I click on my news, I'm looking at, pictures from Mars. So I'm looking at all that, because that to me is more interesting than some politician.
Yeah. I'm not afraid to tell everybody and show everybody like I'm burning with this.
Yeah, and I love that because everyone's so consumed with it. Oh, I'm too cool. I don't give a. But it's like, I'm joined by Calico and Chuck from Beasto Blanco. And for me, it's the last day of Wacken, but you guys must be full of energy because you've just got off stage. How did you find it?
It was incredible. It was pouring rain. And we just said, whoever comes to see Beasto Blanco in the pouring rain is the kind of people we want as Beasto Blanco fans. And when we started, it was as far out as you could see, and people were muddy and screaming. And I said, we found our people.
Yeah, they are your people.
Yeah, this is a holy ground, the heavy metal festival of the year you want to be at. And we had the opportunity to play today. And I can't even really express the amount of noise that was coming from the crowd.
Damn.
And I thought that it was one of our best performances. And we're just happy to be here.
Wow, amazing. And you both look amazing. You kind of make the effort, you put on the show. And what is it that because some metal acts think, oh, it's fine, we're just going to be ourselves, we're going to rock on stage with a vest and a t-shirt, but you guys go all out. You have the striking looks. What inspires this showmanship in you?
I mean, I think we both come from a very theatrical rock and roll background. My dad is Alice Cooper. He plays bass for Alice Cooper. Yeah. That's how we met.
Yeah.
He played with Ronnie James Dio. So we really come from kneeling at the throne of theatrical rock and roll. And when he brought the idea to me, we should do a band, I said, well, if we're going to do it, let's do it.
Yeah, exactly, because the benchmark is quite high. Yeah, no problem.
And it is. And I think, for us, it was like, not only did we want to write great songs and songs that the crowd would be involved in, but visually it was just as important for us to bring something more than just your average musician, which for us, it's like we go to 10 or we just kind of don't go at all, so we give it
nothing.
So that's how we are. And I think it's sonically, it was important for me to have it sonically pleasing, but visually inviting as well.
Yeah. And for women, I think too, like we've made in this last 10 years, such big moves in metal and are being heard and seen. And the guys in Beasto are beyond the best champions for Calico, more ideas, do more, get more. And so for me, when I was coming up with the look, I was trying and failing and it wasn't working. And I just thought, okay, screw it. What do I think is beautiful? And the makeup started and all of a sudden I felt, wow, I look beautiful. And it wasn't a little bit of blush. It wasn't a little bit, it was like this.
Yeah.
And when I do it, I feel really, I don't know, I feel good. And I feel like watching a crowd of now men, women, kids. I mean, there were teens in the crowd and just like, they are going on this journey with us, and we are so stoked because we look like human comic book characters.
Yeah, you literally look amazing.
Thank you.
And I wasn't going to mention Alice Cooper, but I'm like, how could I not? And I didn't know if that's sort of, you must get tired of talking about it, but what an amazing legacy to be born into, and it's kind of in your blood, I'm assuming.
Well, and I do have to say, for years, I think I was like, I don't know if I want to do a band because I'm just going to get compared. And I was him. And then one day it struck me like lightning. I went, wait a minute, you're comparing me to one of the most amazing showmen that have ever gotten up on stage. Yeah. And I thought, what am I crying about? People are saying, you remind me so much of your dad on stage. And I was
like, oh,
thank you. Yeah, cry me a river, right? And so finally I'm accepting it and going, maybe it's genetic. I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, it obviously is because you've grown up with it. So you've watched and observed from one of the best.
Yeah, nothing about this is weird to me, by the way.
Yeah, it's been amazing to watch her just develop her character and develop her voice and her stage presence. And we were doing that together. I'd stepping in the shoes of being the guitar player and lead vocalist. And so it was new for me as well. So it's been a really, really fun transition, the two of us going on this rock and roll journey together. And there's been nothing glamorous about it. I mean, it's been a lot of hard work. And but when we get on stage and we get a chance to play in front of people, and I start seeing girls showing up dressed up like Calico, you start seeing that it's working. But we're not looking so much for that attention as we're really trying to send a message out to people, which is, hey man, if you have something that's burning deep inside of you, go for it.
Yeah.
If you have an idea, if you're an artist, writer, singer, songwriter, whatever you are, if you have this burning desire inside of you, that's what Beasto Blanco is about, is encouraging people, man. Replace the fear, replace it, and just let it rip and have fun doing it. And don't be afraid to fail, because that's been our journey as well.
Yeah. And also, how important is it for you to keep pushing that envelope? Because even you've been on stage with your father holding his severed head, and to some people that'll be like, okay, but that's completely normal to you, and I think it's pretty fucking cool. So how important is it to keep coming up with those crazy ideas and keep pushing forward?
I mean, it's super important. I worked for my dad for 12, 13 years straight, and when I got bit by the bug of each show would happen and I would go, I have an idea. And remember now, I'm speaking into a legacy of the Alice show that's 40 years long, and I was coming up with these ideas. I go, I think I'm going to channel this into Beasto. And so we made a real big differential between, Alice is very horror and very vaudeville. And so we took ours more like sci-fi Predator, Alien versus Predator type of thing. And so where there's blood on the Alice stage, there's motor oil on our stage, right? And it's sort of like Mad Max in space in hell, kind of thing. And so, but I get inspired by, I'll see somebody in the crowd and I'll just get this like firecracker in my brain where I want to write a song about this person, their experience, right? And then like I can see like Chuck's character is like the beast, right? And he keeps developing it. And so I think I'm way far from done. Every tour we finish, I call him the next day. I go, okay, we're going to take some time apart. You sleep, I sleep. The next day I go, I have a million ideas.
Yeah.
This year, we're not going to be spending any time apart.
No,
we're finishing Wacken. We're headed back out on the road with Alice for a few weeks. And then September, we start with Lord of the Lost in the United States, September 20th through the 29th. And then we're back here in Europe again. I think the October 31st, November 17th with the Mighty Dead Daisies.
Wow.
So we're looking forward to it. So it's been so far, also we just released our new record, Connecticut, produced by Chris Harms from Lord of the Lost. And it's been received very well. And we're just, we're on this Connecticut tour right now, and we're going to finish it up at the end of the year with Dead Daisies. So come on, see us.
Wow, you've got a lot going on. And that kind of energy, like I've spoken to a lot of people over the last few days, and your energy is quite infectious. And I'm thinking everyone should be like this. We're kind of at a metal festival. Everyone should be so excited and into their art. But some people, maybe they internalize it. But that energy, it must be kind of, is there a flip side of that, like a darker side? Like, is there times when you're polar opposite? Like, who are you when you take off all this kind of makeup and everything, those quiet moments? I think,
well, first of all, Chuck and I are the best of friends, and we've been since the first moment we met each other, and we can be alone together quietly. So that's kind of the reset time. Nobody demands attention. Nobody's like, so that helps. But really, I think the most vulnerable thing you can do is be excited about something you love, because it's really like vulnerable to say, I love this thing, and be excited about it, because that means you're not cool. Because you're excited about something.
Because passion is never perceived as cool. It's like too much.
Fuck that. Yeah, I'm excited about this. I'm excited about Wacken. I'm excited about Connecticut. I'm excited about it. And I'm not afraid to tell everybody and show everybody like I'm burning with this.
Yeah, and I love that, because everyone's so consumed with, oh, I'm too cool, I don't give a... But it's like, no, you need to care, because this is your passion.
God, I care.
And not only that, but I want the music to do the talking. I don't want to have to suggest, hey, put your hands in the air. Although we do that, but you'll notice during our shows that people get what to do with the songs.
Yeah,
they'll start clapping. They'll
if
start
you have
singing.
to tell people to like enjoy it, it's a bit like
energy alone. What I love the most about our shows and what I see in the audience is most people will see it for a couple of seconds and go, all right, cool, let's go grab a drink or whatever. They just keep congregating. They just keep showing up because you don't want to miss anything.
I'm stuck in this sweaty,
you
smelly
don't
booth.
want to know. Don't go to the restroom. Don't get a beer.
Yeah, I'm like, I missed something good, and here I am sweating my ass off and just stinky.
Great.
Well, thank you very much. And you did mention earlier that you're not necessarily inspired by horror movies and stuff like your father, but do you believe in horror and ghosts and things that go bump in the night?
Of course I do. I think it's so insane. The things that we've seen just on our tour alone, where I go, did anyone else see that? It's just having the exposure to it. I mean, I grew up watching horror movies. I just think I was more, I would see a movie like Event Horizon or something like that, or Sphere, and I would stay up all night as a kid and just think about like, whatever comes from hell is scary, but whatever is beyond the boundaries of the universe, and I'm 10.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, this is a 10-year-old. Like,
so hello, obviously there's had an impact. But that's what I was more interested in. And I thought I could sort of serve the narrative and be like horror guy.
Yeah.
Which I love. And I love doing shows with my dad still because that is it's my heart. I love doing the guillotine and the whole bit. I love it. But doing Beasto is like, we're hillbillies from outer space. Like, it's so fun to just rip the bike, right? And just take off. And these people are feeling it, and I'm digging it.
So, I mean, do you believe in aliens then? If you're like, you do, and have you seen it? You guys are from LA, right?
I grew up in Arizona.
Okay.
So my dad and I were together when we saw the Arizona lights, the V that was in the sky. We got out of the car and went, okay.
Yeah.
Oh man,
it's not just us.
No, and I mean, at
I'm
any
a
given
huge
day,
believer of
he's
all
a
that.
massive.
No, I do. I'm like, I can't help because I love the thought of there being a Bigfoot.
Wow.
Of being, why not? It's more fun to believe that there is than there isn't. And even when I found out as I got older that there was, that your parents are Santa Claus, I go, well, that is cool, but I still believe. Because I love the idea.
Yeah.
I love the idea that there's life outside. There has to be.
It's arrogant almost to think that we're the only people, no?
The most arrogant in the
infinite
infinite universe on this tiny rock that we're like, well, that's
it's just us and nothing
There's
else.
so much politics, all the stuff going on in the world. And when I click on my news, I'm looking at, pictures from Mars. So I'm looking at all that because that to me is more interesting than some politician out there.
I literally just got back from touring America and I did haunted locations and literally going into Nevada State Penitentiary.
Yeah.
Now that is the most terrifying place I've ever been, and it's completely, there is no light. It's just me, cameraman, completely dark, and they're telling me all these stories. Like, I believe in ghosts, and they're telling me all these stories about skinwalkers, like these crawling little things that's scurrying up the wall. And
it's all fun and games till you see one.
Well, and like the big black blob mass, and it's just like
Mothman and the whole thing.
Yeah, we're just like, I'm like, wow. I
started with Bigfoot, and you went all the way to like skinwalkers and Mothman.
Well, like
we did a nighttime tour of Alcatraz. The haunted tour of Alcatraz, and they showed us where like this guy hung himself and this guy, did this and that, and you could. I'm not one of those people that claim to be like, oh, I'm clairvoyant, but there are people like that, and I even as a just total like civilian was walking through going, my whole body is like stiff and prickles. And then we did an old haunted saloon in I think it was Bisbee, Arizona.
Oh, okay.
And the whole place is just like, something told me, don't touch anything. And I said, yes, sir. Yeah. I hear you. Yeah. Don't touch anything.
I obey.
Lord, I will bend the knee.
Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, it's lovely. I always ask people if they believe in ghosts because I heavily believe in ghosts. In fact, I married a ghost, which is a whole other mad topic because I connect with the energy of spirits. And I'm one of those super sensitive people, which I will walk into a building and I will sometimes see things. And
You're so rare. That's so cool.
It's the kind of, people are like, that's kind of a bit weird. And sometimes I don't, it's not like I'm seeing one now, but it's kind of like there are times and places where I will have that energy. And some people don't believe, some people do believe, but it's lovely when someone kind of walks into a room and is interested in that topic, because it makes the conversation a little bit more interesting.
It does. I remember the first time my best friend told me, she said, you're never going to believe this. I said, what? And she goes, I had sex with a ghost.
Yeah.
And I said, I'm listening. And she told me about the whole thing. And I was like, what, was it good? Because I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, like what? How do you?
How do you contact the dead?
Yeah, no, that's the thing, because if you imagine ghosts as an energy field, right? And say that when you die, it depends what you believe. So I'm just giving you my beliefs.
Hey, we're here for it.
You leave your energy force behind you. So when you connect with a human, there will be an energy or like a kind of vibe. And when someone passes away, you can feel that energy. So if you imagine that sort of.
And she's a very sensual, sexual person, and I think she probably invites that sort of, and she goes, it wasn't a bad thing at all. I was just like, oh, this is happening.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like, it's the kind of like, I don't know if you have a say, which is a little bit weird, because it's like, I mean, what do? You can't like call 911 and say, oh, a ghost just attacked me. It's like, I think they would lock you up, but like in an asylum or something. But it's definitely a thing. And it's interesting to talk to people who have interest, because sometimes they're like, do you believe in ghosts? Are you spiritual? No. That's exactly that. Oh my God. People are going to watch this back and watch other interviews and go,
they're like, that was me.
Yeah, that was me.
We did a Beasto performed on I don't know if you've heard of the Queen Mary.
Yes.
So we performed
in Long Beach, right?
In Long Beach. Yeah. They shut the boat down, and they had like us and Filter, a couple bands like that. And we played on the Queen Mary, and then they took us to different rooms. Each band went to a different room and did a different type of like supernatural activity. So what they did with me, they put me in the headphones across the room and did the radio scan, and I would just say what I heard.
So
and
like,
these guys were asking them questions.
So she would reply.
So the only story I'll tell you about this, because it freaks me out to this day, is I'm sitting across the room and our drummer says, where are you right now? And I didn't hear him say that. I'm hearing nothing. And all of a sudden, Proud Mary. Big wheels keep on turning. So the first word that popped in my head was, I said, Mary, we're on the Queen Mary. I didn't know that's what he asked. And so in the video, you hear him go, where are we right now? And I have blindfold and thing, and I go, Mary.
Oh my God.
It took me 3 days at home. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah, because it's weird. Like it's impacting, right?
It's so impacting. And like, they asked if whatever was speaking to me had met me before, and it said no. And then the next question was, when did you first encounter Calico? Tonight in the ballroom.
Oh,
and I was like, okay.
Yeah. Does that kind of thing scare you? Did you run out there, or you're kind of
I almost felt like chosen in a way, like it felt special. Like
why is this? Because that's what I think. I was like, well, this is happening for a reason. I feel like everything in life happens for a reason.
Yeah, same. And we were walking through, and I turned to Chuck. I said, I'm not comfortable with this. I'm not, because I felt like I was being singled. I don't know why, but I was like, whatever eyes are in this place are looking at me, because I'm in a band with 4 men. And so we're walking around, and I said, if I was a female spirit from the 1920s, I wouldn't attach to any of these guys. They look me, they're the nicest people in the world. But I was just walking around, I go, I'd follow me. Oh my God, I'd follow me.
Yeah.
And so when we did the thing, this ghost, they call her Skylark, said tonight in the ballroom, I was like, oh my God, thank you for picking me.
Oh, wow.
So whenever I hear that song Skylark now, I think about her. Maybe that was the plan.
That was amazing. So I'm guessing if you believe in ghosts, you think there is afterlife.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, how would you want I had this conversation with someone the other day, and this is a weird one. How would you want your ghost to look? Do you believe that your ghost looks like your best self, or how you are when you die? So if you got struck down by a bolt of lightning
now,
and you were in your no makeup pajamas, worst day of your, is that how your ghost looks, or does it kind of embody your best self?
I guess
that's fascinating, isn't it?
It's super fascinating to think about, because I wonder if the gift in the afterlife is how you believe that your best self is. So a 70-year-old man might die, but he was his most happy at 10. So when he reincarnates or in the next life, he says, I'm 10.
Yeah.
And that's eternal happiness, right? Because that was when you were the happiest.
Yeah.
So I wonder if I would, come back and I go, I'm 40. Because that's when I was the happiest. You know what I mean? Like,
you embody your best self.
Or a child, or maybe you were 90 because that's when you finally found peace with yourself. Like,
there's a theory that ghosts haunt places, their happy place almost.
Yeah.
Some people think that they're trapped energy where they die, like they've been stabbed trauma. Or the other theory is that they return to their happy place. So it depends on, I don't know the answer to this. I didn't survey 100 ghosts and ask.
Well, if I were to open my eyes and I was in Disney's haunted house, the haunted mansion, as one of the ghosts, I'd be like, this works.
Yeah.
I could entertain for the rest of my spiritual life and just do the show over and over.
If you did sort of have a spiritual form after you, would you haunt people? Do you think? Would you, because would you like anyone who's like done you wrong? Would you be like, ha?
I would ask God. I would say, God, can you just give me 1 year, one human year to just gnarly people up, and then I'll go be with you forever. So 1 year to just kick that table out from underneath you and be like, you asked for that. And then the rest of the time, I'll be in the haunted mansion.
Yeah, because it's like karma.
But I hope the most that when we die, that the thing that gets lifted off of us is the like hate and anger. Yeah. So if you would take that away from me, I would just be happy anywhere. I'd sit in a field and watch a guy tend sheep.
Yeah. You must, sort of going out there, putting yourself on stage. Mm-hmm. Do you receive a lot of like social media hate or trolling, or how do you deal with shutting that noise out? Because everyone has an opinion, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, of course. Most people that,
and of course you, sorry, I'm not.
We're just going on.
No, because I do notice that Calico does get more comments. That are directed to her differently than the comment is not directed towards, say, the video or the picture or whatever. It's somebody has something to say and it's personal. A lot of it is it's something I think that they think is gonna get to Alice or get, but it goes through her. But there are some comments that she shared with me that are not very kind, but at the same time, I think she'll receive a comment from somebody that is very encouraging. At the same time, she's, her dad has changed people's lives, and now here she is on stage doing the same thing. She's influencing people for the better. But with that comes the other side of things, you know, and we all know that this world is not full of people that are playing with the full deck.
No, and also the horrible voices are the ones that scream the loudest. You know, if someone has something lovely to say, they'll come into your day, say something nice, and go on because they have a happy life. Yeah. If someone has something horrible, they will go on and on and on. And
there's a lot of pain out there, that is for sure, in this life and in the afterlife, and it just depends on how we deal with it, and sometimes we're all good at dealing with it better than other times as well. You know, so
right. I mean, I just always try to answer, especially if a comment is so intensely hateful. Usually, I just won't respond at all. But every now and then, I'll respond with curt love.
Yeah, like kindness, like kill it with
kill it. Well, more like if somebody goes, well, Calico, blah, blah, and her dad finances Beasto, and he, blah, blah, no wonder they're playing this place or this place, and I'll just write underneath, you've received incorrect information, heart.
Yeah, because you can't get into an argument with stupid, and keeping it brief and to the point sometimes shuts it down. Yeah. But they always say you should ignore everything, but that's kind of hard.
Yeah, I can ignore stuff about me, but when somebody says something like gnarly about him or the band or my family or makes a comment about my dad, it's like, I see it, and sometimes you just go, ridiculous. But every now and then, especially early in the morning, if you catch me early in the morning, I get ready to go, and I go, for what?
Yeah.
For what?
It's like,
because now this person knows I read it, and they're like, thank God, the attention, thank you.
Yeah, you've kind of verified their truth in some kind of weird way. So 100%. Ignoring is always the best thing, I find. But I feel, I sense you're very protective of her, and I think you're very lucky to have that you obviously kind of feel like family almost. It's
definitely.
for sure.
Yeah.
She's my little diamond in the dirt.
Aww, that's beautiful. And you've been through it. You've seen it.
We have been through it for sure.
But that's why you have a story to tell. That's why you've got something to share with the world. And we kind of went around the houses there. We talked about death, like inspiration. But we're here. We're living in the moment. We're at Wacken.
Yeah.
It's exciting. So what's the message you want to leave from this interview?
Rock and roll, music, art is alive and well, living and breathing with Beasto Blanco.
And for me, I would just say, I'd say live loud, make art. And who cares if one person, that your mom, it doesn't matter who it is, if you love it to death.
Wow, that's amazing. Well, thank you so much, guys. You've been an amazing interview.
So nice to talk to you.
And it was lovely to talk to you, and it was lovely to kind of explore those topics that are not just music based.
Yeah, I know. It's nice to
yeah. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah.